All right, everybody, Bryce here, coming at you with another real quick crypto market update. So over the July 4th weekend, we saw some really crazy price action. Again, not surprised. Crypto tends to be more volatile on the weekends than it does during the week, and this is because there's less liquidity, right? Less liquidity. And what is liquidity? Well, liquidity is the amount of money that is on the exchanges being offered to sell or being bid on to buy. So there's always a spread, right? And during the weekends, because the banks are actually closed, if there's a large movement in the spot markets or the derivative markets in crypto, people can't actually move cash very effectively in order to arbitrage away inefficiencies. And so, obviously the traditional markets are closed on the weekend and they're closed on holidays, but crypto by its very nature is global. It's 24/7, 365. And so when the US markets or some other markets have their cash markets closed, meaning you can't go send a wire on the weekends to go, buy some cheap Bitcoin on one exchange and sell it expensive on the other exchange like a statistical arbitrage, right? That's kind of not available to do on the weekends due to the fact that the banking system is shut down. And so I think this is such a cool kind of piece of the crypto market, is that you get to see really these true free markets play out over the weekend, because at the end of the day, when liquidity is so thin, price moves very sharply in either direction. And so be prepared with that. And even, if you have, if you're looking to, get long or get short on the exchange and you're going into the weekend, make sure you have cash on the exchanges headed into the weekend, because as you guys know, banks are closed. So that was something interesting that kind of came up today, as people were saying like, oh, why does the market always move so volatile on the weekends? Well, it's because, again, lack of liquidity. So that was one thing I wanted to focus on. And another thing that I've been seeing lots of questions about and lots of rumblings with some of these centralized lending platforms that are starting to, kind of cease withdrawals and halt customer activity. And kind of what's going on there was the fact that, they were taking customer deposits and lending them out, right? And they were lending them to hedge funds and other people who had, institutions that had, these, strategies, these yield generation strategies. But now when those borrowers default, meaning they can't repay their loan, well, the depositors now have a hole in their balance sheet. And so we're seeing some very crazy activity. But what's encouraging is we're also seeing, big players step in to kind of bail out, if you will, some of these lenders that had loans that went bust. Now, the interesting thing about crypto is that, there's no government bailouts, right? You can't have a government step in and bail out the crypto sector because it's a free market. It's global. It's, these totally, new sort of structures, not like a US stock market. And so with the US government saying, okay, well, we'll come bail it out, buy up the banks and lend money and all that kind of stuff. So what we're seeing in crypto is we're seeing private companies like FTX, who's just been, totally, building extremely great products throughout the bull market and throughout the bear market. They've been investing in great platforms, and they've also been keeping a really low overhead. I mean, these guys have 200 or 300 employees, and they do by every metric pretty much similar activity to Coinbase, who has thousands of employees. So they've been running a really lean ship, FTX has. And what this has allowed them to do is this has allowed them to be the buyer of last resort, if you will. When all these other kind of companies are starting to go belly up, FTX is saying, all right, I'm smelling blood in the water. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make an offer to buy these companies and to bail out their customers and bail out their shareholders and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's not a government. It's a private company. It's a private, sort of, billionaire group of investors and all that kind of stuff that is now pricing the market a little differently, right? Now that these valuations have started to come down, they're saying, okay, well, now we finally smell value. And so what we're seeing throughout this bear market is a consolidation, okay? Whereas in the bull market, there was this expansion of ideas, this, all sorts of new companies springing up. And now when the tide goes out, you kind of get left to see who's not wearing any swim trunks. And certainly some of these lending platforms were not wearing their swim trunks. And so what we're really excited about is not the fact that these platforms are going under. In fact, I'm actually very upset about it. I've interviewed a lot of those people that have started those platforms. I'm very excited about the inroads that they were making. But what I am excited about is the fact that there are, kind of these plans and these private market bailouts by, strong-handed, long-term focused equity investors in the crypto market. And that's going to mean that, sure, we're going to have this short-term fluctuation, this shakeout, and certainly a shake-up in market players, but the consolidation will be into the hands of the stronger players, right? So we're going to be having a much more sustainable long-term bull market. And again, nothing about the long-term promise of Bitcoin has failed. Nothing about the long-term promise of DeFi has failed. In fact, amidst all of this kind of chaos with these centralized lenders that are starting to go under, we actually see, wow, the value proposition for DeFi is that all of the loans are completely transparent, and you can't have, a loan against one collateral from this lender and loans against the same collateral from another lender, which is kind of what, as I'm reading, what one of these hedge funds was doing, basically improper risk management and proper disclosures and all that kind of stuff. And so in DeFi, that's not possible because it's all on chain. It's fully transparent, fully publicly accessible. And so it makes me actually even more bullish on DeFi than it does for, centralized finance and centralized lending that was kind of also, using DeFi in the background. It was like these DeFi, CeFi hybrids, DeFi meaning decentralized, CeFi meaning centralized. And they were doing this hybrid approach, but clearly it hasn't worked out in their favor in a bear market. Now, in a bull market, it was great. So all that being said, okay, there's a very, very simple message. And the simple message is that regardless of the volatile market and the short-term turbulence, nothing about the promise of true crypto and the promise of true, decentralized finance and these networks, nothing of that has broken. In fact, it's made me more confident than ever. I talk too fast sometimes, and so my words just trample over one another. But regardless, I'm actually going to be talking a lot more in depth about this idea, and I'm going to be delivering actually a state of the crypto market address, okay? And that's going to be this Thursday. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And this Thursday is July 7th. Okay, so July 7th, mark your calendars. And this is an invite to you, actually. It's a totally free ticket, totally free to register. You guys could hit the link or hit the big orange button below, and you guys will be signed up for a live presentation that I'll be delivering to you guys, talking about the state of the crypto markets and providing you guys with some really clean, clear data that shows the future of crypto is very, very bright still, regardless of, some of the short-term panic that we're seeing. And that once all the dust settles and the mess is cleaned up, we're going to be right back ripping and roaring to new all-time highs, guys, hopefully soon. Nobody knows for sure when the bottom will be in or when that next top will come. But one thing I am certain of is that cryptocurrency is the future of finance. And if you're not a part of it, you're going to be left behind, okay? So if you want to learn, more about crypto markets, particularly in this environment, well, then it's very important that you sign up. Again, click the link, click the big button, sign up this Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going live with the State of the Crypto Market address. We'll see you there.